That's nice. Okay, I think we are good. Let's tag everyone in tier 3. Hey, Kanata, hello. I'm rooting for you, by the way. You're my pick for the championship. So don't let me down. You have committed some sins with that livery, though. You finally get a chance to use a Toyota livery on a Toyota, and you don't do it. Why is that a surprise? You're one of the fastest guys, and you're in a Toyota, which we know you like. Where are you? Oof, 11th. That is a rough one. Well, anyway, this is Tier 3 Blue comms for round 1. We'll have a quick run through the grid and have a look at some of the liveries, because I do like a good livery. Old and rusty. I don't think so. You actually did well in the Z4 last season at some races, which is amazing, honestly. Well, here we go. Start off P1 on the grid. Marty, new to this season. Wasn't expecting him to be right at the front. Skycloud, another new driver, which I also wasn't expecting to be at the front. So we've got a lot of new names at the front of the field. We've got Chicken Picnic, which is Henna's on Discord. I'm not sure what I'm going to end up calling you, but he's moved up from tier 5, I think. So quite a big step up, and putting it third on the grid in the NSX, which is not an amazing car. Probably be leading into turn 1 though. It is amazing off the line. Nectar in the Supra in 4th. Eroticos, or the public whiteboard, depends how you want to refer to him. In the M6, another favourite for this season. I think a lot of people have put him down for their predictions. Rostom in, I think it's the Flying Grapes livery. Teammate with Hurricane, as you can see on the banner there. In 6th, got Faxad in the McLaren in 7th. Clyde Sparrow, who's moved up from tier 4, I think, in 8th. Just Filthy, another one's returning after a few seasons out, I think, at least one. So he's doing okay to be in the top 10 on his return. Fancy Locks in the 4GT. Not a big fan of the 4GT. It should be quite good around most of the season, but not necessarily the best at handling the curbs around Red Bull Ring. So it makes sense that he's in 10th. And we've got Kanata, who I expected better from, in a Yamaha livery on a Toyota. Kanata, what are you doing? And we have Fossey in the NSX, probably be able to make up some good positions again in the Honda. Got a Zab, after a really good performance in Tier 4 last season, in the Lambo. So that should be interesting. Another one that might be a bit tricky around here. And we've got Hurricane in the 2nd of the Flying Grapes. Captain Eli, or Ellie, not sure which one that is, how you say it. So just let me know in chat or in Discord. I'll get it right for the next one. And then we have Dougal, Who is Dougal? I do not remember Dougal. Let me find him in Discord. Ah, Stay Frosty. Okay. Cool. I know who that is. Another new driver for this season. Qualified at the back, but again, Mazda curbs does not like them at all. But without further ado, okay, your Sky Cloud. Yeah, well done. Starting P2, solid start. Corporal L.E. E. Lee. Okay. Guess that's what we're going with. Well, anyway, we have red lights going, and we'll stay on with Henner's, doing that lightning launch in the NSX. Does get past the Lamborghini, does not get past the AMG into turn 1. Marty's still leading. Got a bit of a battle behind as well. Oh, there's a spin behind. That looks a bit unfortunate. Let's have a quick look. So Ross sends it up the inside. Ooh, just brakes too late. Brakes way too late. Gets caught up in all that. But we'll go back to the front now. Marty's leading the way from Henner's. Henner's trying to go around the outside into this turn. Doesn't often work on the outside. But he's holding it. No, Marty just closes the door there on the exit. And should probably be able to hold this if he covers the inside down into the next corner. The NSX getting a good run around the outside. Goes really deep on the brakes. Looks like he's actually going to make it. Bit of a snap from Marty. And we've got Sky Cloud trying to take advantage of this as well. And looks like he's going to get the job done. Yeah, Marty having a bit of a poor first lap now, down into second. And things are looking quite calm and spreading out a bit. The top 3 getting a bit of a gap from the rest of the field. Rorikos has made up a few positions into P4. I think he started 6th in the end. Or at the start even. And that was Fancy Locks picking up a 1 second penalty. Really harsh penalties and really easy to pick them up around the Red Bull ring. So let's see, we've got any battles with Kanata? Thinking about it, but not quite getting there. Going to tuck into the slipstream. Super should have better top end than the McLaren, but it doesn't look like he got that good of a run out of turn 1, so it looks like he's going to be struggling to make a move unless he sends it from quite a ways back. Nope, doesn't decide to go for it. Oh, big snap for Filthy. That's surely going to let her get Kanata through. Yeah, and does easily. Is he going to lose any more positions? No, it looks like he's got a big enough gap behind him, so he should be okay. Okay, so let's see if Kanata's got a bit of a gap in front of him and see if he can start moving through the field. Let's quickly jump up to Fancy and see how this 1 second penalty is going to play out, because that's probably going to cost him 1, maybe 2 positions. Although Red Bull Ring penalties aren't that harsh at the penalty zone itself, even though it gives you a lot of big penalties. So that's 1 position gone. Is Kanata going to get through? Ooh, it looks like he has. Just about around the outside. Brave move that. Looked like there was a little bit of contact, but oh, fair enough. It looks like we've got a battle up at the front. Erotica's on the back of Marty. And something has happened to Sky Cloud, because did they get a penalty? Yes, they got a 1.5 second penalty. That's cost 2 positions, and that's how harsh the penalties can be. So let's just go forward a little bit. We've got Erotica's looking at the back, takes fastest lap and that lap as well. 29.3 is a solid lap, especially when you're behind another car. Doesn't look like he got an amazing run through turn 1, but he's still in the slipstream. Oh, Marty picking up a 0.5 second penalty. That's going to cost him. So all Rotocos needs to do now is sit behind him and wait for that penalty to be served. It's a free position, as long as he can stay there and not pick one up himself. And up at the front we've got Hennes just building a nice gap over Marty, and he's going to obviously drop back behind Rotocos if he can stay close enough, so that's quite a big gap, probably a couple of seconds now. It's just penalties. That's all this racetrack is. Okay, let's see, we've got Arfaxad pretty close on the back of Rosthorn. Looks like he thought about going for the move there. Rosthorn's going 4/10 purple. And this is where the Audi should be quite good through here, get a good rotation on it. And Rotocos didn't manage to get past Marty for P2. So a half-second penalty wasn't actually enough to give him the position. Let's see, Hennes takes the fast lap 29.0 and holds on to it for now. But again, that half-second penalty, if Marty had a gap, it's brought him right back into the clutch of the Rotocos. Again, doesn't get an amazing run through turn 1 though. Not really close enough to think about sending it for a move. Yeah, and doesn't choose to follow. The AMG probably is better on acceleration just because it's a more stable car. The BMW can be a bit tricky, I think is the best way, or the kindest way of describing it. And you can see he's lost a bit of time coming out of that corner, just harder to get on the throttle. But this really is where it should claw some of that advantage back. But we've got a few people tailing off at the back, but the group is pretty close together actually. Not spreading out too much. And we've got Rotocos actually coming under more threat from Skycloud now, rather than attacking Marty. So nobody's got any penalties this time, I don't think. I didn't see anyone. Let's see, Marty actually takes the fastest lap of the race, so that'll be what's kept him nicely in front of Rotocos and pulling away a bit now. He was on pole, remember, so it does make sense that he would be pulling away. Let's see how much of a gap is that, half a second, maybe? Let's have a quick look down the grid, see if we've got any battles. Here we go. Got Filthy and Fancy Locks. Fancy's probably going to be better off in the Ford GT, although it looks like he might have made a mistake coming out of that first corner. Filthy actually managed to go around the outside of him. And gets that position locked down. And Kanata's actually dropping back from Arfa. The top 6 are creating a nice little bit of space between them. Starting to spread out a little bit. So Kanata hasn't really been able to make any inroads into that gap, it's just got bigger. So his goal now is really going to be to hold on to 7th place and get himself a solid position on the grid for the feature race. And we've got Hurricane, who would currently be on pole position for the feature race, so Eli's going to be wanting to close that gap down as much as possible to have a chance at getting that reverse grid pole. Let's see, we've not got many battles up at the front at the moment, it looks pretty stable up there, so we're going to stick with this one for now. With Filthy closing back up onto the back of Kanata. And see who can get the better run. It looks like Filthy got a really nice run through there. Nice and tucked up into the slipstream. Is that a penalty for Kanata I just saw? No, it's not. He's not close enough to make a move. No. Goes wide, trying to get a good run out of here instead. Looks like he got that as well. It's definitely the closest battle on track at the moment. Is he going to send the move down the inside here? He's thought about it, backs out of it. And still right on the back of him now. I feel like he's definitely being held up at this point, so the sooner he can go, decides to pull the trigger on the move, the better. Thinking about it there again. He's getting close to going for the move in quite a few places, but just not sending it. Just playing it safe, it's the first round. You don't want to throw everything away in the sprint race just for a 7th place. But he does feel like he's being held up. Which is actually bringing Fancy back onto the back of him, which is going to put him under threat. And this is the risk of not going for the move when you have some opportunities. Fancy's going to send it into turn 1, yeah. This is not... Ooh, no, backs out of it. Just backs out of it. Probably a wise decision. Doesn't always go well, trying to go side by side through turn 1. Oh, and Kanata and Filthy both got penalties. That's going to be costly. But this is now an actual fight for position because they've both got half-second penalties. But all this is going to do is bring Fancy back onto the back of them. It could cost them both that position. We'll stick with this. Filthy is going to... Sure he's going to go for it this time. Yeah, does. Nicely done. Just washes out a little bit, but nothing wrong with that. Very nice move. And that is essentially a position that's probably going to be enough to save him from Fancy as well. So he's essentially saved himself one position and gained another one, which is important. And I would expect him to possibly start pulling away now. He did seem to have the pace behind Kanata. And I'm not sure that Fancy's actually close enough to profit from either of these. So is he going to hold on to it? He's trying. Yeah, he does get it. Does hold it. We're going to have to go back to the front in a minute because there are some positions swapping around. That looks like it's relatively stable, so let's go back. Jump up to the front. So Rotkar's up into second. Henner's still with a nice lead. Nice and consistent, low 29s. Marty is the one with a half-second penalty. That's going to cost him position to Skycloud. And then let Skycloud have a go at Rotkar's again. Nice pulls off the racing line. Rotkar's goes through. It should be the only one position that he loses. And it is. We've got Ross closing up onto the back of him now. He's got a little bit of a gap over Arfak said. He's just started to drop off. So it's sort of splitting into a fight between second and fifth. Ooh, it's close again. Marty looking for it. Skyclaw going really defensive on the inside. Ooh, slide. That's going to allow Marty through. And Ross. Ross might even get a chance to take P3 now. Marty forcing him to the outside. Not where I'd want to be, but he does go really deep, made it work really nicely there. And we've got Skycloud having to go at Marty again. And she does have the inside line. And looks like she's going to make it stick. Yeah, looks like she's got the position there. And that's allowed Rotkar's to get a bit of a gap, so he's not under as much pressure anymore. So it's a nice podium for us after starting, I think, P6. So it's good progress in the sprint. Usually more of a feature race specialist. Move that. Ross starting to get a little bit of a gap over Skycloud. So these two look pretty equally matched on pace. They've gone back and forth on position a few times. It's probably not gone how Marty would have envisioned starting from pole. But he does have a good run on Skycloud. Weird Ross isn't aiming for P10. He has become a bit of a specialist at doing that. Well, here comes Marty, thinking about it. Yep, he's gone for the move. Does he get it stopped? Yes, he does, but he does run wide on the exit, and that's going to allow Skycloud back up the inside. And they're probably... Oh, no, completely past. before he gets there, covering off the inside, sends Marty to the outside, trying to go for the undercut, not quite working out, but he's still right on the back of her. Coming up to the last couple of laps now. And Henner has really been in control of this race since basically lap 1, when he managed to get to the lead. He's had a 1.5, 2 second gap the whole race, just nice and consistent. So I'm sure he'll be really happy with how this first race has gone. Ooh, Skycloud went a little bit wide there, got Marty a little bit interested. Now, does he want to go for the move into turn 1, or does he choose to sit behind and try and line it up into turn 2? Preferring to line it up into turn 2. Looked like Skycloud went a bit wide, but the actual run out of the corner wasn't too bad. Smarty, do you think he's close enough to go for the move? No, decides to stay in line. Goes a little bit wide. And this is all allowing Arfaxad to get back into the battle. And they're still keeping a watching brief on Ross for the podium, but there's a little bit of a gap there. So I'm not sure how safe that third position is right now. Still certainly close enough for any penalties to have a significant effect on it. And looking up front, Eroticos has actually closed that gap down on Henner's. So is this Eroticos putting in a push, or is that a small mistake from Henner's? We'll find out at the end of this lap. Eroticos does have the fastest lap at the moment, it's 28.7. And he improves it, so it is. Eroticos going for a final push, and he has got right onto the back of him. Ooh, a little bit wide there, and a penalty. That's going to put the end to that fight, unless Henner's picks one up as well. But he has not picked one up so far, been really consistent. Low 29s every lap. And setting a PB first sector, so he's still sticking with it. Eroticos just trying to be as annoying as he can in the mirrors, but I think that battle's probably over. Ooh, and looks like we've missed something here. Marty's still on the back of Skycloud. Does pick up a 1 second penalty, and okay, so that's just going wide at turn 1. So Skycloud covering the inside. Marty goes really wide there. Is that going to be another penalty for him? I know the track limits there can be a bit harsh. No, it doesn't think he gained enough time. But it does allow Arthur onto the back of him. But he's with that 1 second penalty. It does not matter, he's going to get that position either way. It's not going to cost him any more than that though. Just the 1 position. It does put Skycloud off the hook a bit, having a car in between her and the next one that's actually challenging. Ross has got a nice gap over Eroticos, who did manage to stay close to the back of Henner's, but not going to be enough, obviously, with the half second penalty. So it's been a very, very solid race for Henner's. Took the lead early, pretty much controlled the race. Eroticos gave it his best shot to try and make it fight to the line. But Henner's takes P1, Eroticos takes P2. Ross up from P6 to get a podium in the first race. Skyco takes P4, Arfaxad 5, Marty in 6th. Filthy does manage to stay ahead of Kanata in that battle for 7th. And Hurricane and Ellie. Ellie gets the final reverse grid pole point, or reverse grid pole position. And so Fancy obviously had some trouble somewhere, because he was in the battle for that position. So that is going to be extremely costly for Fancy, because he has dropped out of the top 10, so he's going to be starting 14th in the race. And we've got DVR or Stay Frosty in the Mazda. Wouldn't want to be in that car around here, to be honest. Fossey in the NSX, not doing as well as his teammate did with it. But he did do well in the BRZ last season. So maybe just needs to get used to the car a little bit more. But yeah, that is our sprint race. Some good racing there. A lot of penalties making a difference, unsurprisingly. Let's quickly grab up the feature race. Fossey spun a lot on T1. Yeah, that is rough. MR cars over the curbs. Probably not worth a watch. Were you just staring at the minimap watching him spin? You should have been focusing on Henna's in front of you. There was a lot of shuffling around in that race because we've had quite a few people come up from lower grid positions to finish. I think Garotka's was 6th or 7th and ended up 2nd. Henna's was 3rd. I think Ross was 6th and ended up on the podium. So a lot of people making some good progress. Okay, let's get rolling through the grid. So we have Ellie or Eli on pole in the 4GT after making their way up to 10th, which is important to do in the sprint. It gives you a much better shot in this feature race. Got Hurricane going on the softs actually. So Eli on the mediums, Hurricane on the softs. So he's going to want to get past Ellie quickly and get to the front, make a gap. Kanata's going to be trying to do the same on the softs. Time to watch my most sweaty race ever. I'm expecting a good one then. Starting 3rd on the soft tyres. If you can get to the front, work with Hurricane maybe. Pull a gap. See what others. Got Filthy in 4th going on for the mediums. Martin 4th going to mediums. Arthur mediums. Skycloud mediums. Ross mediums. Orcos mediums. Henna's hards. That is interesting, but it is the NSX and that is a rough one. That is going to make this race a lot harder. Unless he goes hard softs, but I would imagine he's going hard mediums on that. Got Zab on the mediums, Nectar on mediums, Clyde on mediums, Fancy on mediums, Duke on mediums, and Fossey on hard. So it looks like it's a team decision for the NSX, possibly because it has to be, because the tyre wear, like I said, is a bit rough on the Honda. So that would be interesting to see how that strategy compares, because that's quite a lot of time lost to go hard medium instead of medium soft. But let's get this race underway. Got Eli at the front. We should be easily able to hold that lead into turn 1, but how long are they going to be able to hold the soft runners behind them? Ooh, Hurricane going for it straight away, which he does need to do. The sooner he gets past the better. Now we've got Kanata bumping Hurricane along, but decides to go and bump Fancy instead. It actually worked out brilliantly because he's managed to possibly get the lead into turn 2 immediately, which is exactly what he needs. Got Hurricane making his way through on Fancy, and somebody in the background was getting pushed out wide. Let's go on board with Marty and see if we can see who that was. Okay, so there's a bit of shuffling up here. Garfax, or Filthy, sorry, just trying to avoid hitting the back of Eli. Does manage to come back on safely, so that's nice enough. And both the soft runners are at the front already, which is exactly what they needed to do. Ooh, Eli having a look around the outside, maybe Hurricane just playing it a little bit too safe into there. But these front two now should start pulling away. Should be able to build a gap, and they will be in probably around 10, maybe 11 for the mediums to the end. And this strategy did work out pretty well in Tier 1 for Slim, who made the soft to medium work pretty well. So now we've got the guys behind. I think everyone else is on medium, so this is all now a fight for position. Got Marty was thinking about going up the inside of our backside. Don't want to push it too much on the first lap with cold medium tyres. Oh, it's a bit of a snap. Is that going to allow Rottico? Certainly allows him onto the back of him. He's made some good progress up from 9th up to 6th. And he's actually got past Roston and Skycloud, who both started ahead of him in this race. And now he's up into 5th ahead of Marty, so that's a really good start for Rottico's. Marty's picked up a half-second penalty for his troubles as well. That is going to cost him a lot when the pack is this close. But Marty looking to get a better run out of that corner again. We just say the AMG has better traction than the BMW, and he's looking to make use of it. And if he can get past and put some cars between him and the pack behind, it's going to save him some positions. Sticks it around on the inside, closes the door on the outside. Nicely done. And Rottico's got his old teammate right behind him. Hopefully we don't see any contact between these two, and something was happening up front. Let's go back a little bit. There's some sliding. Not really, Captain just went a little bit wide. And the front two, as we predicted, are starting to get a bit of a breakaway, which is exactly what they need to do for their strategy. So let's see, how much is this penalty going to cost Marty? Definitely 1 position. Is it 2 positions is the question. 1, 2, yeah, this maybe just decides to slot in behind him, behind Ross. Lap 2 of a 27 lap race, you don't need to be fighting that if you don't think it's on. So that has dropped him back put him back at the back of this little 5 car pack. So Rottico's getting a nice run compared to our backside. Not sure if he possibly just hit the back of him, didn't have anywhere to go there. But he does still put him in a good position into turn 2 to go for the move if he thinks it's on. Gets left the space on the inside. Needs to be careful braking down there because it's really dirty, yeah. It's a good job. I think Eli managed to see him and take a bit of a wider line to make sure he didn't get collected there. Hold on, we're getting a pronunciation thing. It's Ali, French version. Okay, Ali it is. So Ali managed to leave in some room there. And still holding on nicely. Still the lead car on this strategy. Obviously the front two are on the softs. So it's a question of how long can they keep the rest of the pack behind? Because what have we got? We've got three of the drivers in this pack that were fighting for the podium in the first race, and Ellie ended up 10th in the end. So can they get past? Do they decide to work together? There's a lot of straights on this track, so bump drafting can work and be beneficial. But personally, I would like the clean air to just do your own race and make use of your own pace. That's 30.8. Rottico's slightly faster, 30.5. Taking a little bit different lines there. Ellie going over the curb. Rottico's choosing to avoid it. Looked like it initially benefited Rottico's, but I think he maybe had to get out of the throttle to avoid the sliding Ellie. Ooh, really late on the brakes there. Doesn't manage to go for the move. Marty has managed to get up into 6th place out of our side. Skycloud in 8th at the moment, looking to come forward with the group of other drivers that were aiming for the podium. And we've got Henner's on the hard tyres, still in 10th, so he's not gone backwards. He's got his teammate right behind him as well. So it's actually not a bad start to the race, honestly, for these on the hard tyres. They're still within sight of the guys on the mediums. He has to go back up to this battle for 3rd. How's the battle for 1st looking? Canard's got a little bit of a gap. And these two don't really need to be fighting, to be honest. They're better off working together or just sticking to their own lines and getting away from everyone. And Ellie is expecting rain, I'm guessing, because their wipers are on. I willed it into existence, so maybe there is some rain coming. So we might have to keep an eye on the weather for this one. It can rain here, one of the few tracks that it can. And Orozco is going to be looking to get a good run out of here again. Looks like he's got a better run this time. Right on the back. Chooses to go. Thinking possibly going for the dummy there. But he's been left the inside line. And we've seen he's been a lot later on the brakes into this corner. And he does. Got the move done. Nicely done. Whoa, a little bit of contact. And Ellie gets spun right. Let's go on board with Ross, see what this looks like from his POV. So Ellie goes wide, trying to avoid that, and Ellie just gets a little bit of a slide and it sort of spins across the front of Ross. Looks like a bit of an unfortunate incident, really. Not sure anyone's to blame for that. Let's go on board with Ellie. Yeah. I'm not sure about that one. We'll leave that one up to the stewards, I think. But it's a tough one to call from just a quick look at it. But that is going to be not done anything for Ross's race, whereas down in last. Yeah, that is rough when it's 15 seconds, 3 penalty points for Ross. Absolutely. So Ellie's going to have to do a good recovery job, nice, to get back into some good points paying positions. They were 10th in the sprint, so they should be able to move forward at least a little bit. Let's have a look at these guys at the back. So we've got Stay Frosty, whose livery is loaded now. Looks like quite a nice one, actually. He's going to profit from Filthy's penalties, probably going to cost him both those positions. Yes, it is, and down to 15th. So we've got do with a little bit of clean air in front of him. But he's more coming under pressure from Clyde. Is Clyde going to think about it into turn 1? Thinks about it, goes for it. Yeah, nicely. Go over the curb, leave space on the exit. It is quite slow, but you can make it work doing that. And he does have the inside line for turn 2, which I imagine he's going to manage to get this done and hold on to the position. Now, Filthy will be looking to move forward from this as well, because he was 7th, I think, in the end of the sprint race, so he should be doing better than 15th. So maybe it's a couple of incidents, and we did see that penalty that's cost him those 2 positions. But these two still going side by side, haven't got this position sorted yet. And Stay Frosty managed to hold it around the outside there. We've gone side by side for almost the entire lap at this point. But he decides to give up and pull back in behind. Oh, but then small mistake from Clyde. Not enough to like, oops, nobody's thinking about it. No, he does manage to hold on to that position now. So it was a long-winded battle. That was all the way from turn 1 to, I think, what is turn 7, maybe? Maybe not turn 7, turn 4 or 5. Well, he's gone wide there. He's going to... Still going side by side. Filthy's going to be ruining that penalty, because that has cost him a whole lap behind these guys fighting. And that's actually allowing Ellie to get onto the back of them. So that's a new personal best, so it's not affected their confidence or anything. And they got right back onto what pace they were doing. A little bit wide there. It's Filthy trying to go around the outside of Stay Frosty. Not really want to be on the outside, but you can make it work. A little bit of contact. But yeah, a little bit of slide, but it's okay. And is Ellie going to profit from this? Looks like it. Not completely through, but still side by side. You can hold it around the outside, and they are slightly ahead. Really deep on the brakes. Does nicely, should get a nice acceleration, yeah. Looks like it. Okay, this looks like it's teetering out a little bit. Let's go back to the front. We've got Kanata, whose tyres are looking in a lot better condition than Hurricane. So Hurricane might have to come a little bit earlier. So we've got Orocco still in third. They're actually probably, are they matching them now? They're actually going faster than them on the mediums. So I think we've well and truly reached the crossover point now. where the medium runners with the better tyre wear are going to be closing back in on the soft runners. Yeah, Hurricane probably, maybe even at the end of this lap or the next lap, probably coming in. And these guys will be going for a lot longer. But these three haven't really spread out since they got any clear air. They're pretty well stuck together. We're still looking at the back of Rotko's. And he's really close after a good run out of turn 2. Rotko's going really tight to the inside. Well, as long as you can get it stopped on there, you can kind of block on the exit and keep the position. So Ross now looking around the outside. Is he going to go for the switchback? Looks like it. But can't quite get it. No, can't quite get it done there. Could possibly be time to start thinking about working together, just to close that gap up to the front. Unless he thinks he's being seriously held up. Because if they keep fighting, there's only really the potential for Marty to get involved, and that's just going to cost you more time and more positions. Yeah, 30.3, 30.5, 31.1, yeah. Hurricane's struggling with those rear tyres, and you can tell it's starting to hurt the lap times. I asked him, but he wanted to fight. Should have been nicer to him last season. Maybe he would have played ball with you. But Hurricane, I think, is probably going to come in this lap. You do not want to go all the way until the tyres are completely red. It will cost you so much time if you do that. And they're taking almost a second out of Hurricane every lap now, so it must be worth him coming in. It depends if he can make it on fuel though, because that is another factor to consider. And Hurricane's at basically 50% after 9 laps, so can go 18 laps. So it's, yeah, it is. If as long as his medium tyres can go long enough, he can come in at the end of this lap. And we've still got these three battling in a train. Doesn't look like anyone's going for the move, so maybe they are deciding to play ball together a little bit. No, never mind. We're also thinking about the move. It does get to the inside, but ooh, no, doesn't quite make it. Still on the inside, and Hurricane does come in as we expected. A little bit under 50%, so we're going to have to watch that in the second stint. Marty trying to go around the outside of us, and this is what I talked about. You start battling, and you're just letting other people get into the fight. Looks like he's managed to hold it though. But this battling is now, ooh, that's a 1.5 second penalty for Marty. That's a rough one. That's probably going to be about 2 seconds time loss. Not enough to drop him into the next group, but that is going to cost him a lot of time. Ooh, and a 2 second penalty now. It's getting even worse. Still, I don't think it's going to be enough to get him, drop him into Zab's clutches. But he's going to take him out of this little battle. Got Kanata still going. Probably do another lap if he wanted to, but he's dropped into the 31s now. Harashka's actually on 31s on that lap, but they were battling, and Ross. And you see what that battling has cost them, really, about 7-8 tenths on what they were doing before. So it does work out if you battle and you get through, but if you don't make it work, you just end up losing more and more time. So Marty doesn't really drop into the clutches of Zab, so he's still got a little bit of space. Kanata decides to come in after 10 laps. And probably could have gone one more, but don't really want to push them further than you have to. Let's see, whose tyres? Rotko's tyres slightly worse on the front compared to Ross's rears on the Audi, so is Audi Ross doing a good job of looking after the tyres? Because I would have thought that would probably be the other way around. But he's now got a bit of free space after Marty's dropped out of that battle, so he can start to close back up to Rotko's. Well, we're just going to drop away from this one for a little bit, give a quick run down the grid. So we've got Skycloud, on the back of her teammate, Zab. And we've got Hennes come up to 7th on the hards, but he's essentially 9th because of the 2 soft runners. So he's made 1 position, but I think that's possibly Ellie dropping to the back after that assisted spin, potentially. This is where you realise you need to save fuel. Yeah, the BMW can be very thirsty if you push flat out all the time. And Hennes isn't even that far off the lead. If you look at the minimap, considering he's on hards, that is good pace. And he's actually been faster than leaders on the last laps with them battling. So maybe stick with this battle for a little bit, because these 3 are quite close to each other. And at some point you would think Hennes hards might become faster than the mediums, although the hards are pretty bad, so that might not actually happen. 30.3, 30.6, 30.5, so taking small chunks of time out of the 2 in front. Canarta saying that he had to fuel save the entire medium stint in the second one as well. So you need to be paying attention to that fuel, especially somewhere around here where it's flat out a lot for a large portion of the track, because it does get quite tight on the fuel. A small mistake from Skycloud, put Hennes right on the back, and he's looking around the outside. Probably wouldn't want to be trying around the outside on the hard tyres. Does think better of it. Probably a smart decision. And the Skycloud saying there you were fuel saving the entire first stint as well, which makes sense, because you were doing your long stint first. Just got a little bit wide there. Not enough to let Hennes through though. And there is a significant difference in the wear. But I was like, honestly, probably got saved by Hennes a little bit there. Although maybe Hennes led back through, so maybe there was something in that. But not sure if Hennes will be disappointed to not get out of the position or if he let her back through. But either way, he's going to have another go at it, because it does seem like he's getting held up a bit now. Not really close enough to look for a move into here, but he does close up on the brakes. Gets it into the apex nicely, gets a good run out of there. Can he make the move down into turn 3? He's closing in. Does he get the... Nope, so... Does try to close the F the inside, but still manages to hold it around the outside. So medium size still holding on compared to the hards. And this is why most people just do not like racing with the hards, because at no point do they ever cross over into being the better tyre. But this is really starting to cost him. I think it's probably 33 on the last lap, 32 on the last lap, so it's costing him a lot of time now, this battle. So he's going to want to go for the move and make sure he gets it done. Looks like he's got it. Yeah, leaves some space on the exit. He's got the inside into this one, should have this wrapped up as long as he doesn't get a penalty on the exit. And he doesn't, and immediately covers off the inside. So Skycloud going to the outside now. Well, he's moved back to the racing line, and Skycloud's setting it down the inside. That is the risk of doing that. It looks like he was not given a lot of space. There was some contact in the middle of the corner there. Possibly not particularly happy with that one, putting his hazards on. Thought about it, looked like he was thinking about going for the move there. Looks like he's just going to get it done here anyway. Ooh! And the spin, let's have a look at this. This can sometimes happen on the exit of turn 2. So did he push wide, or was Skycloud trying to come back across? Ooh, yeah. I was just going washing wide and end up spinning Skycloud around. That's going to cost Skycloud a lot. Down to 10th, but he's back running in a little bit of a gap. Filthy with a half-second penalty on his own 11th. Ellie 12th, and on their own as well. Stay Frosty now coming under threat from Kanata. Shouldn't be too difficult of a move with the better tyres. And Hurricane also out behind, but a little bit of a gap. That's probably bigger than when they came in, I think. So Kanata's doing pretty well on this medium stint. Yeah, not the cleanest overtake, no. I do wonder if that got reported, because I feel like that would be a small penalty if it was. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Fossey's doing quite well on the hards as well. Still right behind his teammate. So the hard strategy is not even going that badly, I would say, honestly. So we've got Nectar on the mediums. Obviously the front side's looking better on the hards for Henners. I mean, he does have some space now, so if he can get back down to his pace, he could probably close back in on Zab and Marty. They're both starting to struggle on the mediums. Still a couple of laps at least, I would say. Well, maybe one or two laps away from people coming in. And Ross has managed to get past. Where did we miss that? Well, they both picked up penalties. But Ross has actually picked up the bigger one. So is he going for the move? Oh, is this a mistake from Eroticos? Yeah, it's a mistake. I think he just went a little bit wide there, got on that sausage curb on the exit, and you just cannot get on the power as well. But they should really swap back as long as Eroticos can stay close, because Ross has the bigger penalty. Eroticos trying to go for the cutback and get underneath, loses the rear. And that's probably... not sure if that's cost him enough to drop him out of the range to get back past Ross with that penalty. Well, these two have pulled away from Arfax, who was pretty close to the back of them when we last saw them. So is this position going to stay the same or not? Yeah, it looks like Ross has managed to hold it. Just kind of parking the car in the middle of the road. Make it awkward for your opponent. Barocco's getting a much better run. Ross immediately covering the inside, but honestly Barocco's got such a better run. He might not quite all the way through. And he is on the outside, probably not where you want to be. Yep, so goes for the cutback. Does get a good run, still right out the back of Ross. And Henner's already in off hards. Makes sense, because if he's going on some mediums, they can go longer than the Sauce will be able to. I would imagine his teammates probably done the same. Ooh, that was deep from Ross. Let's have a look on board. I think Ross was just going too deep there. Missed the apex. Arocos just says thank you very much. Goes straight through the gap. Yeah, just too deep, too deep. Manages to get it stopped in turn, but he's already lost the position. And Arfaxad is pretty close to the back of him now, after those penalties and that battling, and has slightly better tyres as well. So is anyone going to come in early? The softs can do 11 laps if you're nice on the tyres, and obviously fuel won't be an issue because they can put in as much as they want for this last stint. So is anyone going to try to go for the undercut and maybe try and fight out on worse tyres at the end of the race? I would say Arfaxad could, maybe, because he has the best tyres out of the three, so he may decide to pull the trigger early. Stick on board with the leaders. It's anybody deciding to come in at the end of this lap. No, nope, nobody. All wanting to play a little bit safe. Marty's doing the same. Sab also doing the same. And Nectar's going to be the first one to go for the undercut. Probably was close enough to make it work if he needs to. Or if he can have a good out lap. Fancy another one with good tyre wear that's decided to stay out. Skycloud, tyre's looking a bit worse. May need to go for this 17th lap and only do 10 on the softs. You don't want to push it too far on the MR cars sometimes because they can get a bit leery. But we've got Filthy also deciding to. So Kanata is about to take the lead again. Oh, he will do, probably on this lap I would imagine, because everybody in front of him should be coming in. So I think Kanata is our net race leader. Hurricane is our net P2. And let's see, what is the gap? That is a big gap between Nectar and Hurricane, but they weren't really that close to each other before the pit stop anyway. Henners did go on to the mediums, and so did Posse, so the hard medium strategy they were predicting at the start is what's going to happen. And they're coming under pressure from Clyde on the softs now. And this is the problem. You're always going to have a tyre disadvantage when you have to do hard medium compared to the medium soft. And these two, who were quite far apart in the sprint, are actually now battling, and it's costing Enna's time. But he has gone early, so he may get an undercut on the guys in front. Ross decided to go around again. So maybe not confident in how long he can get the softs to last. And he has saved enough fuel to go for 18 laps. And Zab's actually doing the same. Another one that looks like he saved quite a lot of fuel to go for this 18th lap. So maybe the guys who are doing this strategy, Skycloud are doing the same, so obviously a Lambo team strategy. And Skycloud's actually got the most fuel out of all the top three. Although her spin is probably going to cost her a shot at a top 5 at least. Still a chance at a top 10. So I think these guys hoping that putting less fuel and overcut clean air or something. I mean, it can work, but when you're the guy doing the undercut, he's putting on a fresh set of soft tyres. As long as they come out in clean air, they should be able to make that work. And it looks like these came out really close, but crucially, they're in front of Hurricane already. So did they come out ahead? They came out right on top of each other, but they were both ahead of Hurricane anyway. So this is going to save them getting past the medium tyre runner, which is going to be massive in terms of time. Although this battling is going to somewhat equal that out, I imagine. It looks like they've kind of settled in a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if these decide to fight on the outlap or just work together, because they could both clear Ross if they decide to work together. Unless Hurricane decides to send it. Thought about it, or did send it, but kind of backed out of it in the end. Probably a wise decision. And Ross is in, Sab and Skycloud surely got to be in this lap, just based on the fuel. Sab's in. And we've got Marty on the softs. He's going to be looking to get up to the back of Hurricane and get past pretty quickly, because he was in that battle for top 5 as well. But means that Kanata's got quite a decent lead. So if he can hold on to this solid pace, he might be able to hold on to this and make the soft medium work. Let's go on board with the Ross cars, see where Ross comes out in comparison. He's just finished fueling, he's going up the pit lane, but he will get a worse run out of turn 1, and I think that might give the position to Eroticos. Yep, and it does, only just though. So overcut almost worked, although, let's see, Eroticos, yeah, Eroticos has significantly more fuel, so that's really what's brought Ross, or kept Ross in this battle. So it depends how much fuel saving Ross has to do in the Audi, or if any, because he is going to have fresher tyres now than Eroticos. So the question is, how bad are the tyres on Eroticos going to wear by the end of the race? And will that be enough to let Ross get through, or at least have a look at getting through? We actually have Marty get past. around the outside, but they both picked up penalties before then anyway. And Hurricane's picking up the significantly larger penalty, so that's going to put the nail in the coffin for that battle. We've got Saab on his fresh softs ahead of Nectar, so I'm not sure if that's really worked out for Nectar, the undercut, but it has got him a little bit of a gap, if nothing else. And what strategy is Clyde doing? Because that is a long way to go on half-worn softs. I feel like I've missed a pit stop in there somewhere. He's got to pit anyway, so maybe he's going for the 2-stop? Not really recommended around here, or around anywhere really. I'm not sure I've seen anyone else try the 2-stop in this race. Obviously, I'm guessing going soft medium or medium soft. But Fancy on his fresh softs, doesn't need asking twice, goes straight through the gap and should quite easily be able to pull away the rain strat. Maybe, if there is some rain coming. Ooh, that was a little bit late on the brakes for Henners. And Skycloud out in 12th, so there's still a chance of a top 10 in this race, because Clyde is going to need to pit again, so that's basically 11th, and Henners is on the medium tyre, so she can definitely get into the top 10. And they're both on the back of Fancy. Then there's a bit of a gap to Nectar, so that might be the limit for where they can get to. Let's go back to the front really quickly. Kind of stable at the moment. A lot of times is Kanata doing 30.0 on the last lap, so that's a good lap on the mediums. But Rotko's did the fastest lap of the race, 28.8, that's 1.2 seconds faster. So if he could keep this pace up, he can get there. That gap is small enough that they will get there. Ross actually taking the fastest lap at 28.6. So it doesn't seem like he's really saving any fuel at all. So Audi's just that much better on fuel than the BMW is. Now what will be interesting here is if Ross is still intent on battling. 2 tenths purple in the first sector. Nice bit of slipstream to help with that. Because if they start battling, they're only going to cost themselves time to Kanata and keep Kanata in the lead for longer. Whereas what they really need to do is be on the back of Kanata when their softs are fresh, and they're not doing that. They're insisting on fighting. This might be costing them a chance at the win, depending on how much they fight this. There's still 6 laps, so there's plenty of time. And they are starting to pull away from Avaxad. It was 29.5, yeah. Quite a big difference in lap times for that one. And Havertz still got a solid P4 ahead of Marty, a nice gap. Got Zab moving up on the softs, Hurricane starting to drop back on the mediums. They should survive pretty nicely to the end. They're going to be a little bit worn, but he's going to come under pressure from Nectar, who's probably also going to be struggling come the end of the race, having gone for their earliest pit stop onto the softs. We've got Fancy kind of holding the gap to Henners, and Skycloud looking about the same, honestly. Fancy kicking up some grass there. 29.3, 29.8, and 29.8. So Henners are actually closing in on Fancy. Oh no, Fancy actually pulling away from Henners half a second on that lap. But like in the first stint, there will come a time when Henners mediums do become the better tyre, and Fancy's half-second penalty is just going to make that come even sooner. Got Nectar onto the back of Hurricane now. This is probably going to be a relatively straightforward move, even on half-worn softs, because Hurricane's tyres are even worse than that. Also just keep an eye on the front, because they are still close together, but they are not really closing in on Kanata as quick, I don't think. So that battling may be what's costing them a chance at that. Let's see, can Nectar get the move done quickly, or is he going to have to wait until turn 1 or turn 2? Looks like he gets a good run through there. Is Hurricane going to defend to the inside? Looks like it. But Ness is going around the outside anyway on his soft tyres. Goes really deep into there. Does he manage to hold it around the outside? He does, but Hurricane's staying there on the inside, and that is where you want to be for this last corner. Ooh, pushes him off a little bit. Looks like there was space there. Just about. Also, going over the curbs can just have a... like, basically eliminate your steering at that point, because you just start bouncing and there's not really anything you can do about it. But he's still close enough to go for the move into turn 2. It's probably going to be his better chance anyway to get this done and sealed. Is Hurricane going to defend? Yes, obviously, it makes sense at this point in the race. Is Nets going around the outside? He's going to try it. Looks like he got the better run, and you would expect the Supra to have the power over the Audi. Although not by too much, just about get it done. But does he cover off the inside? He doesn't. Hurricane looks at it, but nothing doing there with his old medium tyres. And that is necked up to 7th. And Hurricane is actually dropping back into the clutches of Fancy and Henners. While we've got still a little bit of a gap there, let's go and check in at the front. Ross still right on the back of Rockos. And their lap times have come down significantly from the 28s, but they are closing in a lot on Kanata. So I think this is a bad lap for Kanata, or are they just going faster on this one? No, it's just a good lap. Solid lap from Kanata and solid lap for Rockos and Ross. So they are going to get there in time. But are their softs going to be too worn to really push and make a move? Rotkos' tyres are significantly worse than Kanata's are. Ross's are actually in a lot better condition, having gone one lap less on this set. And so he's going for the run here. Is there any overlap? Not quite. So there's a little bit. Maybe stopping Rotkos coming off to block. So it looks like he's surely got to go for this move. And he does. Rotkos holding it nicely around the outside though. But Ross does have the position. Is he fully ahead? He is. So does Rotkos fight back immediately, or is Rotkos willing to play the working together game and get them right up to the back of Kanata before the end of the race? Because it's not just a case of getting to the back of him by the end of the race, they've got to get there and make the move. So Rockos still sticking right onto the back of Ross. It does look a little bit darker. We was said there was potentially some rain coming. It's going to be really late if it does come. And Arfak's side is actually trying to stabilise that gap now and is staying with these two. These two are still battling. And this is really saving Kanata a lot of trouble, but that half a second penalty is not doing him any favours whatsoever. But this battling is going to keep costing them a chance at the win. Shame he's coming. I'm thinking the rain is coming. The question is when and how much. Because they might just have to fight it out on dead softs or dead tyres in general on a wet track, which is going to be absolute carnage. But these two going back and forth, they're going to pretty much negate Kanata's half-second penalty at this point. Morocco's really struggling on the front now. So you'd expect Ross to be able to pull away a little bit through here, just with the extra rotation that's going to give him. But that half-second penalty is going to move him even closer to Kanata, and it is definitely getting darker, and the rain looks like it could be coming, but there's nothing on the track meter yet. So it's going to be really late if it does. I can't imagine anyone pitting for wet tyres or intermediates if it does at the end of this lap. You're just going to have to try and survive it until the end. But this is now a four driver race for the win, because Arthur is not far behind these guys and does have more better. It's probably the second best tyres. Ross still got the best tyres, I would say. And it is started, wipers are on for everybody. There's still no water. There's the water on the track. So how hard is this rain going to get? I feel like we're going to have to get up a spin counter or something for this. Because if it keeps coming down, nobody's going to pit, and they're all going to be on very worn tyres on a very wet track. But for now, it's not quite enough to make a significant difference to the grip level. But it has just hit the intermediate mark, essentially. And you can hear it starting to come down a little bit heavier. And this is now when it's going to start to struggle. And I would think Ross is going to be struggling the most with that MR car. It's going to slide the most, yeah, and they are off. They're off. Araka's managed to keep it on. Yeah, there you can see the rear stepping out constantly. Yeah, and there goes Ross. Did not want to be in that car. Everybody's gone. Who's going to keep it pointing in the right direction? Kanata is pitting for intermediates. Okay, so the rain is either going to get worse or he's just playing it safe. Not worth the risk. Arthur's going to do the same anyway. Probably get a 3-second penalty for that. Oh dear, what has happened there? So Ross managed to get it pointing in the right direction. Arotka's taking it easy. And Ross is just, well, Arotka's loses it. Ross is losing it, and they just kind of lose it together. Lovely pirouetting in synchrony. Synchronized spinning. Arotka's going into the pits. Ross deciding at this point, probably a wise decision, just try and get it to the end, take it super easy. Henner's coming in, Hurricane. Is everyone behind going to come in and go on to the intermediates? Probably. Yeah, everybody's coming in, everybody's coming in. Kanata's come in and out onto the intermediates, so this is Kanata's to lose, really. And you can't really see him doing that, although it is full wet conditions on intermediates, so there's still some chaos to be had. Harper's out on intermediates, Ross still on the softs. But Orotkas, who was spinning next to him, has pit and come out and he's basically right behind him. So I think Ross may be lucky, with how wet it is, to keep this in the top 10, honestly. What he really needs to focus on is not spinning at all. Even if he's just crawling around, the spin will cost you so much time. Hennes actually did go onto the wet, so he should be in a better position the cars around him, but I don't think he's close enough to really benefit from anything. Hurricane, it's probably benefited Hurricane a lot, because he was dropping down to the bottom of the top 10. Ellie's managed to recover up to 8th after the early spin. Skycloud into the top 10 now. Saab on the wets. Everybody. And Fossey tried to stay out on the mediums as well. It's an interesting call that down low on the grid. I'd have probably just pit and put the safer tyres onto the end. Clyde on intermediate should be able to get that relatively comfortably. But let's go back to the leader. Worked out really nicely, kept it on track. When it first started raining, it's going to take a win by a comfortable margin in the end. Looked like it was possibly in doubt when they were closing in on softs, but that rain has worked out pretty perfectly. Arfat's managed to keep it pointing in the right direction for the most part, and puts it across in second. Hirotka's still got plenty of gap behind him. Going to bring it home for a podium, so that's a double podium for Hirotka, so it's a really solid start. Hennes, who looked like he was struggling with his hard medium strategy in this race, has actually benefited massively up to 4th. And Hurricane, let's go back a little bit. Where's Marty? So both on the same, so let's go back a little bit more. So Marty's right, not really that close on the back of it, but Ross is actually managing to hold this nicely into still being top 5. Probably going to lose these 2 positions, I'd imagine. Hurricane taking it super easy through there, which brings Marty right onto the back of him. And they really are exploring this and finding out where the grip is on these conditions for the first time. They do both manage to get it. It is a run to the line. Hurricane should be holding on to that. He does. Ross does really well to hold on to 7th, honestly. Looks like he didn't spin for the rest of that lap, which is what I said. And he did work out. Not sure if it really gained him anything or didn't lose him anything, but we've got Ellie coming across in 8th, Nectar in 9th, Skycloud in 10th, Saab in 11th, Stay Frosty in 12th, Fancy in 13th, Clyde in 14th, Filthy in 15th, and Fossey still trying to get round on the dry tyres. Probably wasn't the right call in the end. Ross was a bit stuck for him because he'd spun past the pit lane at that point, so if you'd come across the pit lane, he's going to get a chunky penalty, if not reset to the track anyway, so probably the best he could do. Marty probably would have been hoping better from these two races, I think, because he was on pole for the first race. But solid race there for everyone. Kanata did really well in that second one. So let's have a quick look at the standings just to see where everyone is. Tier 3 blue. Okay, so we've got Henners, who's probably counting his blessings for the rain in that feature, because he was on for the bottom end of the top 10. And he's tied first with the Rosicos, 33 points each. We've got Kanata after that solid last feature race on 28, so only 5 points out. He's also tied with Arfaxad, who had 2 solid races on 28. And we've got Ross in 5th, Marty in 6th, Hurricane 7th, Skycloud in 8th, Ellie in 9th, Nectar 10th, Zab 11th, Filthy in 12th, Frosty in 13th, Fancy in 14th, Clyde in 15th, and Fossey in last. Unfortunately, not getting any points out of that one. I think that staying out on the mediums and that in the feature race, not really the right strategy for him. But that is going to be a comms for Tier 3 Blue Round 1. I'll be back next week for Round 2 at Tokyo East, which I think is going to be the first time we've done it on the Monday season. And it's another one where it can rain, so it should be a very interesting race, I think. And with that, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next week.